If you're married and on Medicare, stay tuned for part 2 of our series. Hey everyone, this is Rick McDermott here with Senior Solutions Group, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to check out this video. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel and share this with a friend or two. So in our last video, which we just put out, we talked about if you're married and on Medicare, should you automatically pick the same plan that your spouse is on? Well, maybe, maybe not. So if you haven't seen that video, we're going to link to it so you can check out that video as well. But in this video, we're going to find a couple that is on Medicare. Both of them are new to Medicare. Well, the husband is just turning 65 and the wife has been on Medicare a little bit longer. And we're going to talk about this phone call that we had with him and his experience with her plan and working with us. So let's get started.
How's your wifey doing?
My wife's doing really good, and the coverage she's had since she's been with you guys, since you guys have been representing her, we're very, very happy with. And my mom seems to be really happy with what she has gotten through your services also.
Good, good. How's your mom doing?
She's doing pretty good. She was just sick recently. She actually had COVID and bronchitis at the same time, and she has asthma, so she was in the hospital for a little bit. And it was kind of scary with her age, but she's fine, and she's back home now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That is kind of scary.
Yeah, all three. So it was a little scary at first, but they fixed her up and released her. She's been home probably for a little over a week.
About a week?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear. That can be real scary.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jerry's doing wonderful, and like I said, she really likes her coverage. She just had her second hip replacement this year, and the coverage has just been phenomenal, and the surgery went really well, and she's doing great, and we just really like how well her Medicare plan has paid for everything. Right. It's done really well.
Yeah, that's partly because she's on Medicare and a supplement. She wouldn't really have any hassles at all with her plan paying, and Medicare pays, the supplement pays, and then...
Exactly, you're right. That's exactly how it's gone, and there hasn't been a hiccup or nothing.
Right.
And that's the way it's supposed to work. Whenever you're on regular Medicare and a supplement, the insurance company is always subservient to Medicare. They're not driving the bus. They're in the passenger seat. So they go where Medicare goes. When Medicare pays, the insurance pays. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Which now there's another type of Medicare plan that is gaining steam nationwide over the last several years, and that's called Medicare Advantage. And we have those plans, but I don't know if you know anything about those or not, but for some people they like them. For others, it's not their cup of tea.
I've studied a little bit about them, but I wasn't real impressed. And it seemed like when we were first signing Jerry up, when I first called and talked to you, and I didn't really know anything about Medicare, I'm like, boy, we want one of these Medicare Advantage plans. And you're like, well, you don't have any in your area.
Right.
So Medicare plans can come and go, and we're seeing more and more Medicare Advantage plans expand all the way across the U.S. So well over 95% of people in the U.S. population has Medicare Advantage as an option. The average person has about 45 Medicare Advantage plans to choose from. But back a few years ago in this area in the Tri-Cities, which is a highly populated area in eastern Washington, there were no plans. All the plans had left that Tri-Cities area, and now slowly but surely about 24 exist.
At that time.
Right.
So,
well, that's changed since then.
Right.
So,
but isn't there something about if you went with a Medicare Advantage and then you didn't like it, isn't it hard to get back onto just regular Medicare or something along those lines?
Well, it's not hard to get back onto regular Medicare if you do it during the right time of year. What's hard can be getting back on a Medicare supplement plan, because the insurance companies by law don't have to accept your application if you come off of Medicare Advantage, and you don't meet all the criteria. So,
yeah.
So if you've got pre-existing health issues and you've been on a Medicare Advantage plan for longer than 1 year, then by law, the insurance companies are not required to accept your application to get on a Medicare supplement plan, in most cases. So you'd have to go through all the health questions, and so if you're in the middle of a health issue, that's one reason why some people don't like Medicare Advantage, is there's more co-pays and more network restrictions and more prior authorization requirements. So the reason that people like Medicare Advantage is they cost less per month, and they offer some extra bells and whistles that regular Medicare doesn't, like some dental, some vision, to try to kind of lure you in. They'll offer you some extra perks.
So if the insurance companies can run your Medicare for you, they get paid handsomely by the government to do so, usually around $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 a month that they collect from the federal government, from taxpayers, versus getting maybe $100, $150 a month from a consumer with no government subsidies. If you were the insurance company, what would you prefer? Therefore, all the ads are mostly all focused, 95% of them are focused on Medicare Advantage, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Advantage, which we offer, and we like Medicare Advantage. There's no perfect plan out there. There is no perfect ideal plan that's going to work the best for every situation.
So those can be kind of nice, but it's not why I would make my decision based on extra perks. I would make it on the big picture.
Right, and isn't it possible that they can drop you also?
If they dropped you, they'd have to drop everyone else, and yes, it is possible. So they can't just drop one person. They would have to leave the entire area.
Which is what they did in the Tri-Cities, in Richland, Pasco, Kennewick area a few years ago.
So if they decided, well, we're not making any more money here in the Tri-Cities, we're going to leave the Tri-Cities at the end of the year, they would send you a letter telling you that they're leaving, and then you would have a special right to, at that point, you could buy a Medicare supplement plan or go to a different Medicare Advantage plan for the following year.
So you can't be canceled from a Medicare supplement plan by law ever for the rest of your life if you always pay your premium, and you have a 30-day grace period. After 30 days, then they can cancel you for non-payment. That's why it's a good idea to use auto pay, by the way, so you don't forget. And auto pay is actually safer than mailing checks and having your checks and your account information stolen.
But,
okay.
So now all the promotion, advertisements, all of the hype is for Medicare Advantage.
Right, I see them on TV all the time.
95% of all the stuff you see on TV is Medicare Advantage this, Medicare Advantage that. And part of the reason is the insurance companies get paid buco bucks by the federal government to run these plans, and they can make a lot of money doing it. So that their margins are razor thin with Medicare supplement insurance. So what they'll do is they'll raise rates, and they did that with Jerry, and we just moved her to the other plan without changing.
Now, if you get a rate increase, you can change your plan in our state anytime. In other states, you do have to go through health questions much of the time. So be aware of that. With Medicare supplement plan, it's really year-round open enrollment with the provision that you may have to answer health questions depending on the state you live in.
Her coverage.
Right, and we really liked that. That was awesome.
Yeah, so we can do that with any time with a supplement plan. If you have a larger rate increase, they'll go up about once a year. But if we can avert those big rate increases as long as we can, we're going to do that for you. Just looking out for you and making sure you're getting the most for the least.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why my wife and I are very, very happy with you representing us. So that's why I didn't hesitate to call and see what I need to do to get going here.
Right. So now if you want to look at Medicare Advantage, we can, but it's a different ball of wax than regular Medicare.
I'm not really interested in it. And the topics we've covered today were some of the things that I was concerned about, and I don't think that's what I'm interested in.
Okay. Well, just heads up, you're going to continue to get bombarded by those plans, and especially the big giant marketing firms that have tens of thousands of people they hit up every year to try to switch them over to Medicare Advantage. Those are going to keep coming. So just be careful with who you give your Medicare number out to.
Government's finally starting to crack down on this. We may see less of these ads, so that hopefully will be the case. So we'll keep our fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, I haven't given it out to anybody, and all the correspondence I've been receiving so far, I've just been shredding. I've been waiting just to call up and talk with you guys.
Okay.
That's been my game plan, because like I mentioned, and it's because it's true, how happy my wife is and how happy my mother is, and we're just really glad that we found out about you guys for my wife. So I haven't been talking to anybody.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that. We don't take that lightly. We treat everyone as best we can, like we would our own mom and dad, and that's kind of served us well, I guess. All the referrals we get and people telling their friends and family, and it just makes us happy to fulfill it. It's very fulfilling.
Our work just begins when we meet a new client. It doesn't end. It only begins.
Well, that's what we got going on here. So
right. Well, let's take a look here. Then, do you take any medications at all?
I do not.
Okay. All right.
So in our last video, we talked about a husband and wife that one took a whole list of medications, some spending ones, another one took a whole different list. So check out that video. In this case, he doesn't take any meds, and his wife's on some simple generic meds. So it's pretty simple.
So it's easy to find an inexpensive drug plan that'll avoid you from being penalized for a late enrollment. Just even if you don't take drugs, you definitely should have a prescription plan just in case if your health were to change.
Yes, I've read that. Even though I haven't corresponded with anybody else, I have Medicare books and stuff, and I've read that. So I do want to sign up for that, even though I'm not taking any prescriptions at the moment.
Right. And the least expensive drug plan that we offer is $11.10 a month through WellCare.
That's what my wife has, is WellCare.
Yeah, that's one option. There are others that we have too that are more expensive, but for now, that would be a good option. There's one that's a little bit less than that, but we're not contracted with them. They don't use agents anymore for that plan.
So we're always going to let you know about all your options, even if it's plans that we don't represent. So if you're better served finding a plan that we don't represent, we're gonna push you in that direction, even if we're not the agent of record for that plan.
So I know Aetna's got one for a little bit less, but that's not through us. That would be if you were to call them directly or to go to their website, you could get on that one. But we would not be your servicing agent if you went that route for that plan.
So in the last part, he was talking about his situation and some personal information, which we wanted to keep anonymous. And we're going to pick up in the next section here. Here we go.
Just go to Safeway, and now what we need to be mindful of with prescription drug plans is they can change from one year to the next. So in the fall, right around late September, you'd get a letter every year from your drug plan letting you know if there's going to be any changes.
Right, I've seen those with Jerry, absolutely.
And you don't want to throw those out along with all the rest of the junk mail, because every once in a while people discard those, and in January they notice their drug plan has doubled or tripled or in price, and it's too late to make any changes.
Or your pharmacy is now out of network, and now you have to change pharmacies. Or you have a medication that was covered one year and now it's not covered the next year.
Right.
So we can help with those changes, or people can go directly to our website, and we have a really handy-dandy tool to help people make sure they're on the best drug plan.
Now, we are petitioning Congress to try to change the rule. Right now, the rule is you can only change your drug plan between October 15th and December 7th in most cases. People who are on Medicare Advantage get 3 extra months from January to March 31st. That's not fair. Contact your congressman and say you want to have equal treatment for people that are on Medicare Advantage that are on versus people on regular Medicare who cannot change their drug plan after December 7th. There's not enough time for everyone to change their plan in many cases.
Yeah, I've used it a couple of times.
Yeah,
Last year and the year before, I've used that on your website.
Yeah, so we can use that as a tool every year to just double check it. The other option is to, if you ever get stuck with like a major expensive drug and you need our help, we can help with, sort through all that as well. But there are going to be some changes coming to Medicare Part D in the next year or few years now. with new legislation that was passed.
Okay.
One of the changes in 2024 is now there's going to be a maximum out of pocket of $8,000. So if you're on a whole bunch of expensive drugs, right now there's no cap. Next year there will be a cap, and then in 2025 it's going to drop down to $2,000. So
wow, right on.
Well, it sounds good. We're just going to see what happens. I know there's some lawsuits and things that I think will end up going to the Supreme Court. We'll see where it all ends up, but
right where it shakes out. Yeah.
Yeah, right now they're going to announce right around September 1st the 10 drugs that Medicare is going to require the drug manufacturers to negotiate price on, and they're going to add 10 drugs the following year. So 2026 is when we're going to first see these price drops for these drugs that are in price negotiation. We have another video on that as well. A little bit of controversy on that video, but we'll have a link to that one as well.
right, but we'll just hold tight, and I know that there is the big push for Medicare Advantage, and the standalone drug plans are going to be more and more pressured. So if we end up seeing benefits scaled back, we're just going to have to sometimes play hopscotch from one year to the next on which prescription drug plan we're on.
Okay.
It's just the way it is. But
Already?
we'll keep you updated, with our annual workshop, which will happen in September.
Okay.
So what I'm talking about here is with the new legislation with a $2,000 cap on out-of-pocket costs, which right now there is no cap if you're on prescription medications. You could spend $20,000 a year or more on your prescriptions if you're on some super expensive drugs. So in 2025, that drops down to a $2,000 limit, which sounds really great, but we're seeing some lawsuits. We're also seeing we're going to see some maneuvering from these drug plans, these insurance companies, drug manufacturers. Maybe they will cover fewer drugs, and they may just opt to leave the market or change their premium, change their formularies, which is the drugs they cover. So we're going to see some volatility. I'm going to imagine we're going to see more carriers to stop paying agents, and that's going to maybe force some agents who don't sell Medicare Advantage to look at Medicare Advantage. A lot of agents focus only on Medicare Advantage. We show our clients both options. Option 1, regular Medicare with a supplement. Option 2, Medicare Advantage, and let you decide what situation is best for you and what options are best for you.
Pull from Medicare and go on a private plan, which would replace your Medicare card.
Correct.
Kind of like having a substitute bus driver instead of the regular bus driver if you're riding the bus to school. The substitute driver might take some different twists and turns along.
So that's Medicare Advantage. They take over the bus. They're a substitute bus driver in place of Medicare. Medicare is not even on the bus if you have Medicare Advantage, which is not good or bad. It's different.
Right. So that's not good or bad. It's just different. So.
Correct. I understand.
There's been a lot of misinformation out there, and the government's really starting to crack down on some of these bad actors. So, now we're recording all of our phone calls and just staying compliant and want to do it the right way.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so you guys get a discount for both being with the same company.
So if you're on regular Medicare and both husband and wife are on the same company, most states will offer a 7 to maybe a 12% discount for a husband and wife being on the same company. So we're going to skip ahead to the next part of the call here.
Yeah, when will I have to redo stuff, Rick? Not till next year, right?
Yeah, so you're never going to have, by law, they can't require you to redo your supplemental plan to Medicare. Now, we're still going to want to review it periodically if there's rate increases.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the supplemental plans are uniform. They're identical from one company to the next, except for the premium they charge each month. And, there might be a little bit better customer service with one company versus the other, but by law, they can't make your plan different. So you're not going to get a better plan going with AARP versus Mutual Omaha. They're all the same benefits. So as long as Medicare pays, your plan will pay, no ifs, ands, or buts. So it's nationwide coverage, any doctor, no referral required. There's foreign travel, emergency coverage. So you can go anywhere, even if it's Johns Hopkins, you're able to go there. So, which isn't always the case with the Medicare Advantage. You can go to certain providers that accept the plan. Otherwise, it could be out of pocket.
100% out of pocket.
when will I want to review my stuff that we set up today? Not
I
till,
think the main part is in the fall, is the prescription drug plan has to be done between October 15th and December 7th. So if there is a change on your drug plan that we need to address, then that would be the time to do it.
And some agents don't do that. They only want to do the supplement part. They don't want to do the drug plan part because there really isn't a lot of money to be made for agents.
okay, so even this year during that period, I should be reviewing my drug plan.
Even though you're starting it up for fall, you're going to want to review it in the fall for next year, just to make sure. Now, there's a good chance we won't need to change, but just in case, it's a good idea.
Yep, we don't want to fall asleep at the wheel.
Got your Medicare number here.
We're going to wrap it up right here.
Now, she has the plan in. I'm going to have a plan in also, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, we like that plan in.
Yeah, the next step up from Plan N is Plan G, but it's another $50-$60 a month, and it doesn't really make a big difference to you at all benefit-wise.
Yeah, we like that plan in.
So Plan N versus Plan G, there's a zero copay with Plan G, but you have an annual deductible with Medicare Part B, which is the first $226. Everyone has to pay that who's on regular Medicare. Unless you're on Medicare Advantage, some Medicare Advantage plans will waive that deductible. Now, if you're on Medicare prior to 2020, you may be on a plan that does not require you pay that deductible. So for the first $226, you have to pay that for all of your outpatient care under Medicare. Plan N, in addition to that, has a $0 to a $20 office visit copay and a $50 ER room visit copay. Other than that, it's identical to Plan G, except if you go to a doctor that doesn't fully accept Medicare, which 98% of doctors fully accept Medicare. Under Plan N, you may pay a 15% excess fee. Doesn't happen very often. Every once in a while, it may happen. In our state, you can always change from a Plan N to a Plan G if you ever come across a doctor that does that. So it's something that you just want to be aware of. So that kind of gives you an idea of our process. We want to get down to your needs, your budget, your preferences. Are you the type of person that would rather pay more money per month and budget that into your budget and not have to worry about surprise hospital bills, being able to go to any doctor, Johns Hopkins, you name it, you can go, no referral needed, and you don't care about extra perks, then Medicare with a supplement, original Medicare, might be your best option. If you're the type of person that's, well, you know what, I've got a pretty decent nest egg, or I can't afford a supplement, I can handle co-pays, as long as they're reasonable. Which Medicare Advantage has a cap on your out-of-pocket cost. You don't mind a prior authorization from an insurance company, which all Medicare Advantage plans require prior authorization for certain procedures. Then Medicare Advantage could be a good option for you to look at. And I like Medicare Advantage, but there is no perfect plan out there. So on occasion, there will be some hiccups here and there with Medicare Advantage. So just know that we are there to help service our clients. If you need any help, we're here for you. If you have an agent already and they're doing a great job, fantastic. If you don't have an agent and you would like one, feel free to reach out to us. You do not need to be a client. If you just have a question or two, we're here for you. Thank you for taking the time to check out this video, and have a great rest of your day.